When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Get this. Adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com. ODOO.com.
And boom!
Common man, no show pep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
All right, this is Don King talking about panel about Bruno and Tyson, but give the common man the raise he so richly deserves. Don't lose him. Don't be standing on the dock of the bay when the ship is out to sea and the corner man is on board. You better get on board. Don't be there crying and whining. Get him and keep him. Give him the raise that he deserves.
You find this funny, Mr. Groh? You're smiling. You find this humorous? No, they're not. You find this humorous, Mr. Groh? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Groh. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it keeping a 4 year kid.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
Oh. It was a nice run.
We're not going home yet, baby!
We're happy for you. A little puck talk. A little hoop action. A little baseball action. Timberwolves superfan, KFAN Stan Barrero.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that they fooled me once. Shame on you. To fool me, you can't get fooled again.
Game plan looks like
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
Here we go.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
That open probably needs to be updated. We haven't been fourth in the north in a long time, and I've got the report card to prove it. Greetings, good afternoon, to you and yours. Thank you. I don't want somebody else's lips on my horn, quite frankly. Shirley, you must be kidding. Don't call me Shirley. Well, frankly, don't call me Frank. Well, you don't have to be curt with me. Don't call me Kurt. I've got all sorts of great one-liners like that, and you'll hear them. Flop, sweat, and tears. As a matter of fact, Enemy, there's a lot to get to today. There's two basketball teams locally headed in different directions. Minnesota Vikings have now become the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. Twins are about to embark on the season, but there's really two topics I'd like to talk about: flop, sweat, and tears, and Aaron Rodgers.
Oh boy!
Should we spend 3 hours on Aaron Rodgers? I can't tell you the annoyance level of people talk. Is it a hatred of Aaron Rodgers, or just too much Aaron Rodgers talk, or is it a combination of the both?
Maybe, yeah,
probably a combo, a combination. I don't know where the rumors are today. I've been sort of out of pocket, but are both A-Rod and who's the other guy from Pittsburgh?
Russell Wilson.
Russ Wilson. Are they both still on the open market, or did either sign?
Yep. I think we're not going to get quarterback movement until Aaron Rodgers makes a decision. And I know this is going to surprise you. He's taking his time with his decision.
Oh, really? Is that what he said? Was there
No, he said nothing, but it's just...
Well,
he never makes a quick, decisive decision. He wants the attention that goes along with it.
So let me ask you this. Is the decision he's making is whether to play again or not, or does he have several offers out there?
We haven't heard any...
What's your guess? Are we just waiting for a retirement announcement?
We've heard Pittsburgh has given him an offer.
Okay. And that, as far as we know, that's the only team that we know of publicly that has made him an offer. Nobody else has. We think the Vikings are interested. That's what we heard.
We believe the Giants are interested as well.
Okay. So whether they've made offers or not,
it was always assumed to be believed it was Giants and Steelers, and then the Vikings kind of became the third wheel here.
If you're Aaron, where would you rather play? If you want to win,
if I know I'm starting, and there's not a quarterback competition in Minnesota, I'm going to Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, even if there was a competition, don't you think he'd beat out the youngster? Do you think the youngster is some kind of a phenom, and Aaron would?
It's an ego thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm not competing. He'd win the competition, I would think. I mean, if he can't beat out a rookie kid, no matter how good this rookie's going to be, then you should just hang him up. They're 4-time MVP for crying out loud. So, but we'll keep an eye on that. It's the A-Rod watch, and we'll keep you up to date on that. And then there is Flop, Sweat, and Tears. Great comedy. We've got a pair of tickets to give away later today. The show is a week from Friday at Bogart's. Go to BogartsEntertainmentCenter.com to purchase your tickets.
If Rodgers does end up signing with the Vikings, and he arrives on airplane,
I
think one of the best lines ever said on the fan was uttered by you when Favre came here and the plane landed, and you said, "The ego has landed."
The ego
it was genius.
Landed. Yeah, thank you.
So if you could repeat that line once Rodgers...
And I would. The ego has landed. Yeah, I did say that.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the compliment. So Ben Johnson got let go.
Yes.
Gophers were the first team knocked out of the tournament, right?
I don't recall when the other playing games were played, but that's probably correct.
I think they were the first to get knocked out. How many teams made it? 14 of the 18? So they were the 15th best team in the Big Ten, right? The Mike Tice logic. I don't know if those numbers are right. I just wanted to do the bit. The great Mike Tice logic, when he was coach, we got knocked out second round. That was the year I think we surprised Green Bay. It was the mooning game with Moss. We were 8-8 that year. We beat Green Bay. Then we got beat on the final game on Sunday on divisional round. So we were the last game of the weekend. And so Tice's logic the next day is, well, we're the fifth best team in the league because we were the last team eliminated. And it's like, well, Mike, that sounds great, but had the Vikings been playing that first Saturday game, then you would have been like the 12th best team in the league. So it all depended upon where you were slotted into the schedule. So I love it. I mean, that's why I like
Gophers Northwestern was the first game.
Yeah. So, and did I have that right? We're 14 teams. Not every team got into postseason play.
I think it was just 3 that didn't make it.
Okay.
I think teams 16, 17, 18 didn't make it.
So we're the 16th best team
or 15th.
15th. We're the 15th best team. So there you go. So we have that. Ben the numbers were all in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side. I don't think we need to go over them. We're really not a stats, sabermetrics, or analytics kind of a program. We had one, was it last year was pretty decent, and this year he had a couple of nice wins. They beat a couple of ranked teams. We did a court storming and such like that. Had moments. Had some good players for a while, and then they all leave. Remember we had the Evans kid, was like ranked as like the 20th best prospect, big 7-1 kid, and then he left. He had committed. He signed his letter of intent. And then a couple months later, he said, I've changed my mind. I think he went to Louisville. And then from Louisville, did I see in the paper, he went to something called Grand Canyon. And then we had the kid that went to the NBA. Remember, he was a freshman for us, really good guard. And then he what was his name? He decided to go to the NBA draft. He looked like he was going to be a star for us, right? Maybe you'll find his name somewhere. I don't remember who it was. I could look in the story, right? The names really aren't that important. And then, we had Payne, Ola Joseph, and another guy, and they all left as well. And they left for probably a variety of reasons. And number one would be the universal language, money. Nil is reared its ugly head, though. I can't put everything on Nil, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt to be able to pay the very best players, but I guess, and I bet Ben's a good coach. You've heard me say this many times to me. If you get to the level of NCAA Big Ten coach, you're not just somebody that doesn't know anything about basketball. That doesn't mean you're a great coach, but you're probably a good coach. You know X's and O's. You see what the other team does. You know what they're doing. You know what you want to do to counteract that and all of that. But I think it goes back to what when we used to talk about Donatel Ed Donatel was terrible. It's personnel, not always, not always X's and O's. And so, but I don't know how you could go another year. And I don't like to see anybody lose their job. I really don't. I mean, it's like, unless they really deserve to lose their job. If like Uday and Kusei Hussein, if they lost their jobs, I'd be happy. But if you're not an evil person, you don't have to see somebody lose their job, even if it's necessary. And in this case, it probably was. You could have gone another season, I guess, but I don't know what good that would do you, right?
I don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people like to use the nil thing as an excuse, and I would have 2 counter arguments to that. One, they've been bad forever. Nil has not been around that long.
Yep,
it's not like all of a sudden we were a good program that fell apart once Nil came along.
You are correct.
And then the second part of this
Can you wait just for a second before you say the second part? I want to give you a...
Brilliant!
And now your second part?
The second part is, why don't we have Nil money? Right? Like we're in a big metropolitan area with Fortune 500 companies. I'm assuming there's plenty of alumni that have made some coin in the day. Like, you would think the universities in the big markets, not that we're a huge market, but in comparison to other Big Ten markets, you would think we would have actually an advantage when it comes to nil. So why don't we have no money?
I would tend to agree. It's something called the Dinky Town Collaborative, whatever it's called. They're responsible for shaking down the well-heeled to try to get them to invest money. I can't answer that, Tenby. I don't know why. Do you not have the right strategy? And look, I don't know anybody in the I don't even know what the Dinky Town Collective is all about. I don't know if it's one person, 10 people, 100 people, if they do it part-time, full-time, are they former, current alumni? Do they, I don't know who they all are, but maybe some people are really good at raising money, right? K102 for St. Jude's is really good. Maybe we should do a radiothon.
Yeah.
For the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I'd rather do it to conquer kids' cancer myself rather than to pay high school kids a bunch of money to play at the U. But I think probably, I don't know if you have the right people raising the money or if there's just not an appetite for it here that, because you think you would do it more out of just pride, right? Just helping the university. Not that, if you're like, and I'm not throwing 3M under the bus because I don't know where they are on this, but let's say you go to 3M and say, hey, would you like to give us $2 million? And they go, well, really, what good does it do us? We don't get anything back from it other than the goodwill of the community. And sometimes that should be enough, but I don't know. So I can't answer that question. And then, there were names thrown out in the Fish Wrap Factory West today of possibilities. And, I've heard of the 5-6 names. I think I've heard of 2 of them. And I don't know any of the others, and I don't know if they'll have any better luck than anybody else. But while that team is in a reset, they're gelling and stacking them over at Bullseye, Tennessee. We're finally gelling. It only took 60 games more than everybody told me it would, but we're starting to gel. This team is starting to catch on with me. My question going into break, I want you to think about it, Tennessee, and I want an answer on the other side of the break, and from the listeners as well. Do you like parades? We'll pause and come back with a little Distat Lat here on The Fan.
It's tax season, and by now, I know we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's an important one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Here's another, 20%. That's the overall increase in identity theft related to tax fraud in 2024 alone. But it's not all grim news. Here's a good number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by another good number, the $1 Million Protection Plan. In fact, restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Don't face identity theft and financial losses alone. There's strength in numbers with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo? What comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You know him from the Bad Boys franchise. Now see him live at Mystic Lake. Actor and comedian Martin Lawrence is bringing the Y'all Know What It Is tour to the Mystic Showroom on May 2nd and 3rd. Check out our contest page now to see how you can win your way into the May 2nd show. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program time for Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric, your old home specialist. They're looking for a journeyman electrician. It's a great opportunity. Position's full-time, pays $40 to $46 an hour. Affordable Electric provides health insurance, a simple plan with a 3% match from Affordable, a work truck, bonuses, and the ability to earn commissions. Apply today, affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable. Going to be The drive-by media. I like that. I'm going to start using that. The drive-by media or the mainstream media. I roll my eyes, shrug my shoulders, and shake my head and chuckle when people label people mainstream media. Most people that label a mainstream media think there's a bias to their reporting. They either think they lean right or they lean left. And in some cases they do. But if you're smart like me, I'm a relatively bright guy. Sharp pencil. No, sharp cookie. What's that old thing? A razor sharp wit. Mine. I can read. I can see bias coming a mile away. So I generally look at quotes from, the main actors in the story, and then I can kind of decipher what they're up to. But the reason I bring this up is I've seen this now. Sauce Gardner, Jordan Addison trade. Have you seen anything on online? I
have not.
I've seen it on a number of different places.
Straight up, those two?
Well, I don't know if it's straight. It's
just like count me in.
I haven't read any of them. I've just seen the headlines, and I don't dive into them because I wonder sometimes when it's Sports Illustrated, and I harbor no ill will to any of these people, but the Vikings age. I don't know who these people are, where they've been, where they're going, where they're at, who their connections are. But I'm seeing there's some steam being built up on the Jets should trade Sauce Gardner for Jordan Addison. And isn't Sauce Gardner considered one of the best cornerbacks in all of pro football? I don't think Jordan Addison is considered one of the best receivers in all of pro football. So that's why I have my doubts that there's even anything to it. I'm with you. Sign me up. As the Vikings have made their free agent moves to this point, they signed a number of their own free agents. And I think the guys they signed are all quality players. And it's good to keep them in the fold. But I like what they did by bringing in the Ryan kid for the center spot. Fries for the guard spot. He'll play between Ryan and who's our right guard? Who's our right tackle?
Brian O'Neill.
Brian O'Neill. He'll play there. And then Hargrave is official. He's signed along with, who's the other kid we signed?
Jonathan Allen.
Not
really a kid, but yeah.
Right. But they're kids to me. I'm 66. They're all kids to me. So I like what they've done there. And if you look at, and then we signed a defensive back that I'd never heard of his name before. Can you remember his name? I'm testing your memory. We signed
Isaiah Gardner.
Is it Gardner?
Or Isaiah, excuse me. Yeah. I'm thinking of Sauce Gardner. Isaiah Rodgers.
How good is he? Do we know? Do you have any indication?
I think you're hoping he's your fourth cornerback.
Okay. So, and then we did lose Murphy?
They also signed another cornerback yesterday that hadn't been reported yet.
Okay.
But he's basically just like a special teams guy. He's not.
Who did we lose defensive back?
Well, right now we don't have Gilmore or Shaq, but neither of them have.
Who did we lose through via? Didn't one of our guys sign?
Can't bind
him. So we still have. I just said his name. I'm really bad with names. Who do we still have in the fold?
Byron Murphy
Jr. So we have him. Okay. And the other guys we don't know. So I would think if you're looking at the team, I think we could be nice to add a defensive back. If I could do that trade, wouldn't you do that in a minute?
Oh gosh, yes.
So I don't.
Because Sauce Gardner is a better player than Jordan Addison.
Correct. And I just don't see.
I don't know why the Jets would do that unless there's.
Well, that's it. That's why. That's
something
why,
else involved.
That's why I asked. I just don't know. There are so many websites. There's so many mainstream. The ones that have been there forever and ever and ever. Right? You got the Associated Press. You got ESPN. You got you name them. We the Sporting News, CBS Sports. All these ones that you've kind of considered tried and true. I don't see any of those people reporting on this. That doesn't mean it's not true that there's rumors aren't going around. But I just wonder. Matter of fact, this one story says fans have gotten a Jordan Addison for Sauce Gardner trade idea trending. So you could almost get any kind of thing trending. Sure. If you threw something out there, like if you threw out now, if some media person said, my sources say Rodgers is on his way to Minneapolis to visit with the Vikings. You could just make that up, throw it out there.
Connor McDavid for Kirill Kaprizov.
Right. And all of a sudden, it could start trending, right? If the right person threw it out there. So that's what I'm not sure. I don't know if the Vikings are done in free agency. You sent me a text here, or a text with from Jason OTC. Current top 10 in annual spending on the offensive line in 2025. The Vikings are now on top of that list. And that doesn't bother me. It's better to have them homegrown, the old rookie contract deal, right? That's where Philadelphia was so successful. They're just the latest example. Other teams have done it over the years, but that Howie is a Roseman. All he does is continue to draft offensive and defensive linemen over and over and over again. You're bound to hit on many of them. And that's one of the main reasons they won the big game. Saquon Barkley, look at in a mild defense of Charch, Saquon did look like he was donezo when he was playing with the Giants. You put him behind a really good offensive line that can bust open holes. Guess what? A lot of running backs that look like they were donezo can be pretty good. I mean, look at how good the Montgomery guy was a good back for Chicago. He gets in Detroit, and now when they got two different guys and he's rotating in and out, Montgomery's probably had one of the best years. He's probably had his best 2 years, the last 2 years with the Kitties, I would think. So if the offensive line is really good, so I don't mind the Vikings spending money. I'd rather that they draft those guys and don't have to spend $86,603,994 in annual spending, but that's what they needed to do, and it's certainly, I don't think anybody would disagree with this. I mean, you can be pessimistic, right? There's no question about it, but I would think at least as we speak, it's the old on paper. This line looks like it might be. We've talked about the Vikings offensive line forever. Every year, I think going into last season was the best I felt about them in about 10 or 15 years, or since maybe the 98 years, right? And that wasn't saying much. And then we saw what happened, especially late in the season, those last two games, especially the Rams game, didn't go well, and that's why we made the changes. So I'm all for the Sauce Gardner thing. I'd be all for it. I'm going to be skeptical on that one. I think there's a better chance we sign Aaron Rodgers than trade Addison for Sauce Gardner. Yeah. But we'll wait to see how that goes. That's Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. They're looking for a journeyman electrician. If you're interested, reach out today. Go to their website. It's affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. They're shockingly affordable. I gave you an extra segment to think about it, Henry. I'm going to ask you a question on the other side of the break. Do you like parades? We'll talk about the parade route next here on The Fan.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
Hey, everybody. So when you get asked, what is Odoo, what comes to mind? Well, I'll tell you. Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, some people also say that Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable.
Ooh. But then again, you could look at Odoo in terms of how its individual software programs are a lot like building blocks. Whatever your business needs, manufacturing, accounting, HR programs, you can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So what is Odoo? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it.
Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Join the Minnesota Minnesota Wild for Mental Health Awareness Night on March 19th. Get your special ticket pack for an unforgettable game against Seattle, a pregame event with speaker Mark Wick, and support a great cause. A portion of each ticket sold goes to the Ranch Teammates for Life nonprofit. Don't miss out. Make a difference and cheer on the Wild. Full details available at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. I'm Common. He is Tennessee. Did you come up with an answer? Do you like parades?
I love parades.
You've been in a parade.
For what I remember of them.
Well, I'm sure you remember the one you and I were in. I was the Grand Marshal for the, what's that, St. Patrick's Day Parade in St. Paul. You and I were, we broadcast live. I'm thinking, don't know this for, I can guarantee you this. It's the first and only time the fan has done a live broadcast while riding a float in the parade.
Yes.
Right? I don't think it's ever been, I know it's never been done. If it has, I missed it somehow. Maybe, I'm sure the Power Trip will get that opportunity someday. Matter of fact, they're so big, they might do the Macy's Day Parade and broadcast live from them. Hell, hockey's joining the Chanhassen Dinner Theater. What is he participating in? It's the grease thing, but he says in the ad, I'm getting to participate in the high five part. What is he? Can you play the ad again? Or is that against the rules?
I don't know.
Oh.
Didn't even hear the ad.
Oh, I listen to every ad very closely. That's what I do. But he says that he's participating in some part of the. Maybe one of the listeners can help me. He's participating in some part of the Grease show. That's how big it's gotten for the Power Trip Morning Show.
I'm surprised we haven't just thrown a parade for the Power Trip.
Well, that's a.
They have enough members where you can get the parade going for a long time.
And you know what I would think? Here's what would be a really good idea. I'm sure they're all making fairly good money, but I think they need nil money. I think that we should get we should get somebody to donate millions and millions of dollars to the Power Trip Morning Show. In the Power Trip Takeover. So, Wolves played last night. They seem to have the Denver Nuggets number. Denver, which won the World Championship, I believe it was 2 years ago. And I think we gave them that run for their money, right? And we gave them everything they wanted in the Western Conference Finals, and we lost. No, did we?
No, we beat them last year.
We beat them. But wasn't it the year before we lost to them?
Yes, but that was a first round series.
Okay. So we lost
like in 5 games.
So we lost to them in the first round. We beat them. That was on their way to the NBA Finals, and they won the World Championship. Then we played them last year, and we defeated them 4-3. Came from behind, a very thrilling series. And we ended up losing in the Western Conference Finals to the Dallas Mavericks. So after beating Denver the last time we played them 4-3 in postseason play, we've had their number this year. We 3-0 against them this year. We have 1 game left with them. They led wire to wire, start to finish, 115-95 win on the road. Wolves' roster has changed, but the results have not, right? We've Big Meow is gone. Bodega Cat is in New York. We now have DiVincenzo and
Julius
Randle. And then, and a couple of rookies that were drafted and that have been seeing some significant playing time. Quote from Mike Conley says, "It felt similar to last year. Being in this building, you have to play that way to beat a team like this on the road. They're really, really good. We just came in with an angrier mindset." Sort of, that's one way to put it, angrier. I would just say a professional performance, playing like a pro. That's been my problem. What a pro wants, what a pro needs. That has been my problem with the Wolves. That's why people think that I get teased when the Wolves win. I don't talk about it as much. And when they lose, I can't wait to get on the air. And it's the tough love covenant. And I just have issues. Here's the final quote of the story today. Fish Wrap Factory, Chris Hine wrote it. It's Chris Finch. Here's what he said. "When we play, part of our issue is bringing the same focus and intensity level and commitment to the game, no matter who we're playing. When we play these top teams and teams we have great familiarity with, we tend to take it a bit more personal. We have to do that all the time. But they won't do that all the time. And the Wolves aren't the only team that doesn't do that. We've had that conversation. I just had it with some of the sales guys. The sales guys over there, they love their hometown teams and they're all in. They drink the Kool-Aid. Right now, they are planning the parade route for the Wolves. They did it for the Vikings, though, as well. And earlier in the year, they were doing it for the Wild. And last year, they were doing it for the Twins. And that's all good. You root for the hometown. And it's you root for the home team. And if they don't win, it's a shame, right? The song. I'm out of key. Sorry about that. But to me, it's like it's sort of like when Morikawa didn't speak to the media after a pretty, if you want to call it a devastating loss in the Arnold Palmer, the tournament last week. He had a one-shot lead going in the final. Russ Henley beats him. He didn't talk to the media, and he does he just got destroyed by Rocco Mediate, too. Did you see the Mediate comments?
Yes, I did.
Rocco, one of us, he played Tiger, lost to him in a 18-hole. Actually, I think it went to 19 holes when he lost in the U.S. Open playoff. And I think that was at Torrey Pines, but I could be wrong. It doesn't really matter where it was. It was a long time ago. But he just thought it was horse bleep. He couldn't believe that Morikawa could say something like that. You're supposed to face the music, man. And you may not owe it to the media, but the media is your conduit to the fans, and the fans are the ones. And I know there are people that will disagree with me, and they'll text me, and they'll try to get me going, and say, he doesn't matter. He doesn't have to say anything to anybody. I guess he doesn't owe anybody anything, I guess, if you want to believe that. But if the fans, after investing time and effort and even money, if they buy tickets or watch TV and pay the cable subscriptions or the streaming or whatever to watch television and watch sports is your whole life just sports, and you've watched Saturday and Sunday, you see a guy, you just want to hear from him. Is it really that big of a, I'm so mad, I don't want to talk to anybody. Remember when Norman collapsed to Faldo? He had a 6-shot lead. What did Greg do? Went to the media. Greg, you choked. Yep. You faced the music, man. That's a stand-up guy, and that's what you're supposed to do. And so, to me, you're cheating the ticket buying public a bit. The fans want to hear what you got to say. What happened in that round? And same thing in basketball. It's like, one of the sales guys responded with, well, yeah, but you're just acting like it's only the Timberwolves that do it. And do it meaning they play those mid-January and early February games against teams that aren't as good as they are, and they kind of coast, and they don't put a full effort into it, right? And it's cost the Wolves on a couple of occasions. They've lost some games they should have won, and that's why they're sitting at 7 right now, still looking up 6 spots, and they won't get number 1, 2, or 3. They could maybe get to 4. I don't know how far they are. I know they certainly can get to 6 and even 5. I know that for sure. And had they come out with the same focus, intensity, and commitment that they did last night.
They are just 4.5 back a second. Now you'd have to leapfrog a bunch of teams, but
so if they had come out with the same focus, intensity, and commitment to every game like they did last night, they'd probably be sitting at 1 or 2 right now. Wouldn't have to concern themselves with falling into the playoff games. And I just feel like you're cheating the public. It's like we talk about this all the time, and again, yeah, I guess I'm being soft because I worry about little Johnny and little Susie going to the game. The only time they're going to see the team playing, we're just coasting today, and it's all part of the idolization and pedestalization that's done by the media and the fans. And these guys start to believe it and start to say, I'm making so much money, and the fans, they need us more than we need them. If we're not going to come up with focus and intensity, it's not that big of a deal. That's why I loved Antetokounmpo when they tried to offer him up an excuse for losing a game. Hey, travel, and a couple of different time zones back to backs. He said, when we pull in on the charter jet, our cars are sitting parked on the tarmac, getting warmed up. We're fine. Don't worry about us. So. But, again, to me, that's an argument for, and I know they can't go back on games. 82, they're going to always play. Matter of fact, if anything, they would increase the number of games, right, to make more money. They'll never go back to a 72. Do you remember the 50 game? I think you and I have discussed this. Remember when they had was it a strike year or somewhere in the last 5-10 years where they played a 50 game schedule? Every game was intense. Because every game counted. You can't take nights off in a 50-game schedule because you won't make postseason play. And the ticket buyers then are getting they're getting games where teams they're not just breaking a sweat, they're leaving the court exhausted. They've left everything out there. You don't see that night to night.
No load management.
Yeah, no load management. And so now, and if you're okay with that, that's fine. If you're in the basketball committee and you're community and you're okay with that, good for you. It's part of the reason why I sort of turn my nose up at the NBA a little bit. Now, once postseason play starts and the Wolves are there, I'll watch, Mostly because I have to. I guess I don't have to, but because it's going to certainly help what we do here noon to 3, because people are going to be locked in on the Wolves. That's going to, be locked in on the Wolves and the Wild. How do they do in postseason play? I think we're still hoping the Wild can make it. That's no guarantee, right? With the injuries that they have. But, I just, and so you would see a better product from start to finish. The only solution to that would be that fans would have to agree to pay more money per ticket, right? Because if the players in the league and the networks don't want to step back on how much money they are being given for those, it's like if you're, TNT and you've got a bundle of games, and ESPN and you got a bundle of games, and NBA Network, wherever all these games are being shown, you're not going to want to go backwards on the money. So we're kind of stuck with that. But I guess, this is a perfect argument for only starting to pay attention at this point of the year. Now is the time to get locked in, because now is the time when the teams are jockeying for position and the team is playing very well. Another thing that I saw in this story, Tenneby, Conley had a quote. You know how we joked about just yesterday, we were talking PST. And remember what you brought up when Tommy Olsen said the best thing to happen to Mo Ibrahim was to have a season-ending injury, right? And then wasn't there another one too?
Yeah, like Pat Micheletti had once said, the Kaprizov injury might be a good thing for him.
Here's what Mike Conley said. We got a gift earlier in the year with some of the injuries, myself included, being injured a little bit, guys being in and out of the lineups. It's given other guys opportunities to have a bigger role. You look at Jaden and Nas, those guys are getting comfortable and confident while Julius was out. Dante, him being out, allowed Jalen, TJ, and other guys, meaning Clark and Shannon Jr., to get quality minutes. Now we're all finding our rhythm. We're all finding a good pace to the game. And my response to Conley would be, well, you didn't need injuries to give guys playing time. I mean, at that point, you were forced to. You have guys that are hurt, they can't suit up, so now you do have to turn to the bench. But you don't have to wait for an injury to turn to your bench. And I don't know if, and Finch has been criticized for that by a lot of people. Even in the basketball community, I think that, you're basically playing 8-9 guys a night. You drafted 2 guys, are not getting any experience. Garza, has been sitting, he's played, I wouldn't say quite a bit, but in his 2-3 years in the league, now he's got some playing times. But that's why I've never understood, especially when you are playing those games where your team isn't giving it 100% effort, when your star players have decided, I'm taking the night off. Nah, I'm not going to give it an effort, because this is a what did Jimmy Butler used to call the Wolves, a skip game? I just love that. But if the players are literally thinking it's a skip game, we can't lose to Utah. We did, by the way. But if we can't lose to Utah, that would be then the time then for the coach to say, okay, maybe I'll use my role players, my bench players, because even though they're not as good as my starters, they're going to give a better effort than a lot of my starters. The starters have decided they're not going to come out with, and this is the quote, the same focus and intensity and level of commitment to the game, no matter who we're playing. So if you're going to get that from those guys, that would be the time to say, I'm going to play Shannon more. I'm going to play Naz Reid more. I'm going to play Garza more. I'm going to play Jalen Clark, who, by the way, Rosen had his eye on him forever. So you don't need to wait for an injury to play those guys. You just need a coach that will do that. But for some reason, coaches, and I don't know if it's just Finch, I'm not paying as close attention to the NBA as I once did. But if I know Tibbs has a short bench. We saw that here, right? Tibbs always he didn't want to play more than 8 guys, I don't think. And part of the criticism there was by the time you got to postseason play, you'd ground some of these guys into dust, which I still roll my eyes, shrug my shoulders, and shake my head. I don't really need to tell you. 3 games a week, charter flights, hot tubs, cold tubs, even lukewarm tubs, and double massage therapists. So it's like, so I just think to me, this is a lesson. I would look at this and say, I'm going to start playing some of those younger guys and give it, because now what I'm being told, I thought I read somewhere, and I don't know if it was a Johnny Krasinski piece or someone else, where they were talking about that. Now Finch is comfortable going 10 deep and could be comfortable going 10 deep into postseason play. That's why I'm starting to get a little bit excited about this Wolves team. Now they are starting to play They're starting to gel. Everybody told me that would happen after 20 games, and then it was 30 games, and it was 40 games. Well, it's taken about 65, 70, almost 70 games to do that. And again, the other teams are playing well also. I mean, I know we beat the Thunder. We had the greatest comeback in the history of pro basketball a couple of weeks ago. That's a really good club. I heard someone today say they might be the deepest team in basketball. Sounds like the Wolves are getting pretty deep right now, too. And that was one of the reasons why people like the Thunder. They have a deep rotation. They can go deep into the lineup. Well, it looks like we can now, and if it was because of injuries, I'll trust what Conley says, and that's fine. But to me, it's like I would have been doing that all year long. The way I'm breaking this down, do you think I should be an NBA coach, Genevieve? I'm just making all this up as I go along. I just thought of this just now. I think it's brilliant myself. Don't you agree? Why wait for an injury to play, guys?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to.
No.
Yeah, and you should have the foresight of, hey, it'd be nice to have as many guys feeling as confident as possible in case we need them in certain roles, right? Like, you get in a playoff series, and this might be your rotation this playoff series, but now you're facing a whole different team with different strengths and weaknesses, and now you might have to adjust rotate. Like, you need more than just your set 8. And actually, I think that's going to be the downfall of Denver. Denver doesn't have a lot of depth.
Right. And also, if you have a game where there's a lot of, what if Edwards gets foul trouble right away, gets called 3, and then he gets a tech, gets thrown out of the game, he's out. Then you look down the bench and go, who is he going to play? He's only played 6 minutes this year. He's been playing a lot. He's got games and games of experience. I trust him to go in and pick up where you left off. So yeah, I just think it benefits the club. And they are playing well. They're gelling. I mean, there was the quote from Ant today in the story. Hold on.
And I know the competition's gone down a little bit, even though obviously Denver's a good team last night.
Right.
But even just the way they're winning now seems to be different than earlier in the season, right? Like, they seem to be a team for a lot of games that would just kind of mail it in first quarter.
Correct.
Make a run in the second half if needed. Whereas now they're coming out right away and dominating these teams right out of the gate.
Well, and that's what Finch was saying.
Different mindset.
And that's what Finch was saying in that last quote I read that I led this segment out with, is that when we come out with the intensity and focus that we did against good teams, he's basically saying we should do that all the time. But it's just human nature for the NBA. And I don't know why, but they just oftentimes they don't come out with that intensity and that focus. The double teams that Edwards has been seeing has been frustrating him for a long time now. Matter of fact, it was funny earlier in the year. He did the old, well, they're double teaming me, there's nothing I can do. And then the next game he came out and scored like 41 with the double teams. But it says Edwards, who earlier this season complained about the double teams he was facing, looked at ease dealing with the coverages Denver was sending at him, especially in the second half. He was making the right reads, especially on a pair of possessions when he found McDaniels for left corner threes. He said watching film of Lakers guard Luka Doncic has helped, and he's seen the game much better as a result. He finished with 29, 6, and 4 boards. Here's what he said. Like, now I know the low man going to be there, the corner going to be open every time, then they're going to start pre-rotating to the corner, and the wing is going to be open. Just little reads, man. And so now he's starting to learn that, and that takes time. But he's been in the league 5 years. You would think he'd have learned that earlier. I think his biggest problem was, if you remember the other quote from earlier in the years when he said, I like to score the ball, because that's what these guys want to do. So it's after a while, you're like, you get double team, you get frustrated, you go, well, wait now. Everybody else is scoring, I'm getting some assists, but they're doubling me up. This isn't fun. But once you just decide to yourself, well, that's just the way it's going to be, some things will never change, Bruce Hornsby in the range, well, then you play with what they give you. And then eventually, if other guys get hot, they're going to go, well, we can't just keep doubling Ant because other guys are beating us now. And then Ant will get his opportunity. And I saw a couple of highlights today, and Ant took it to the hole strong a couple of times. He had a couple of nice pull-up jumpers. I mean, the kid's a hell of a player. So maybe they are starting to do that. Maybe they are starting to trend in the right direction, and they can make for a fun postseason play. We'll have to see how it goes. Top of the hour, right around the corner. By the way, we'll be giving away tickets to Flop, Sweat, and Tears a little bit later. Common Sauce, Larry Mondello Guy, Bogart's Apple Valley, March 21st, a week from Friday. Tickets are available right now at BogartsEntertainmentCenter.com. We'll give away those a little bit later. Tenneby, what do you have for a tease?
A legendary Vikings player is back.
Your stomach is a mess and you feel lousy. Something is just off, but you don't know what. Yeah, we get it. You've tried every fad diet and supplement under the sun, and none of it worked. Here's the truth. Your gut's a mess, and your body is letting you know. You're just too busy, and you ignore the signs, making it worse. Viome gets straight to the point, analyzing your gut microbiome to give you a personalized health plan that actually works. Your gut is how your body processes everything that you consume. Stop ignoring the signs. It's time to do something real. Get Viome and fix your gut now. Dial **gut to get $110 off any test. That's *488 to receive a link to the offer.
It's tax season, and by now, I know we're all a bit tired of numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Here's another, 20%. That's the overall increase in identity theft related to tax fraud in 2024 alone. But it's not all grim news. Here's a good number, 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's US-based restoration specialists will fix it, backed by another good number, the $1 Million Protection Plan. In fact, restoration is guaranteed or your money back. Don't face identity theft and financial losses alone. There's strength in numbers with LifeLock Identity Theft Protection for tax season and beyond. Join now and save up to 40% your first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock and use promo code IHEART or go to lifelock.com/iHeart for 40% off. Terms apply.
You know, some people say that Odoo business management software is like fertilizer, the way it promotes growth and all. But other people say Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is also magically affordable. And there's some people who would even say Odoo's individual software programs come together to build the perfect suite like building blocks. Well, Odoo is all of these things. Fertilizer, magic beanstalk, building blocks for business. So sign up now at odoo.com, ODOO.com.
When it comes to playtime, never let your squad down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Push your gameplay beyond performance with 13th Gen Intel Core processors. Upgrade to smooth, high-quality streaming with Intel Wi-Fi 6E. And maximize game performance with enhanced overclocking. Win the tech search and head to Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.